Hello, today I'm really excited to have Mara Glubka with us, Richfield resident, transgender advocate, amazing artist, and community builder with us today to talk a little bit more about Pride Month and the importance that Pride Month has for our LGBTQ community and our entire city. Thank you for joining us, Mara.
Thank you, Maria.
Could you talk a little bit about why it's important to recognize Pride Month and to celebrate here in the community of Richfield, and what does it mean for our LGBTQ residents?
Well, in the community, my thoughts always go to kids, and I think that when you give an affirming message, anyone in leadership that affirms or lends their support to the kids that are so often bullied and marginalized, that's a good thing. As for, I can't remember the rest of the question.
The importance of celebrating Pride in Richfield.
Yeah. And as for the importance of celebrating Pride in Richfield, I would say that it's just always good to know that the community that you live in supports you and your community as well.
And can you talk a little bit more about the Supreme Court ruling, what it was and what it means for our community?
Absolutely. It was a decision that said that employers can't discriminate or fire people for being LGBTQ. There were three parts to it. There were three people that brought suit before the Supreme Court, and all three succeeded. And it was a surprise because everybody that I knew thought that it was going to go the other way, that we were going to have to be fighting from behind in the next administration. And hopefully that will be a different one. But it was just amazing when it went 6-3 in our favor, and that one of the judges that Trump appointed wrote the opinion, Neil Gorsuch, which it was like a mountain was lifted from us. We weren't sure that we even had a future, and that was restored with that decision. And I believe that it's extremely important because now I think it's going to be really tough to pass any anti-LGBTQ legislation nationally, if not impossible now. So it was massive. It can't be overstated.
Absolutely. That was a huge win for human rights in our country. And can you talk a little bit about how Pride started and the history of that? Because that is a really important thing for our residents to know as well.
Thanks. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that Pride was started by two transgender women of color. The Stonewall Uprising in the 60s was initiated by Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson, who started fighting back. They were out in front fighting back against the brutality of the police, because the police were coming. I don't know if you know the history of Stonewall, but the police were just raiding it randomly and arresting people, just because they were LGBTQ and gathering in one place. That was the only reason that was happening. So, that the initial resistance to that came from transgender people, transgender women of color, is an important fact that I think most people aren't aware of. So I thought it'd be good to bring it up.
Thank you for sharing that. That is a very important piece of history that our residents should know about. Could you share a little bit more about your passion and your work for supporting transgender youth in health?
Yes, thanks. I am very fortunate to be the director of Transforming Families Minnesota. That is a support group for transgender youth and their parents. And it's also a group that realizes that parents of transgender youth need support just as much as the youth do. And so we fill that gap, I think, pretty well. We have a kind of a unique position in the support community, and we're online at tffmn.org, where we also have a place to donate. We have two groups on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We publish a newsletter monthly. I publish it. And we hold support group meetings every month, one for adults, one for we call tweens, and then we have an online offering for little kids. So It's going really well. It's different than it was because it used to be in person, but it still has a very respectful and kind of reverent feel to it. And that's what we shoot for. We meet people where they are and try to help them to move forward. And I think we do okay. We do good things in the community.
Great. Well, we are really fortunate to have you as a member of our community here in Richfield, Mara.
And we are really fortunate to have you as the mayor.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your leadership. We appreciate all the work that you're doing. And I also want to take a moment to let all of our LGBTQ youth and family members and residents know that the city of Richfield supports you, that the leadership welcomes you, and we want to make sure that we're doing everything possible to make sure that Richfield is welcoming and inclusive for all of our residents, and that we really look forward to partnering with our communities to make sure that we are doing that. So thank you for your leadership in making that happen, and we're really excited to have you.
Well, and I can confirm that Richfield is a little ahead of the curve in inclusiveness because it's one of only 2 suburbs in the Twin Cities that has a gender inclusion policy. So kudos to Richfield. I'm proud to live here.
Great. Thank you, everybody.